Hello everyone, welcome back again to Liverpool Report today. We've got the latest updates on our beloved club Liverpool, but before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of Liverpool Report news. Let's get started. Sadio Mane and Steven Gerrard never crossed paths in Liverpool's first team. Mane's footballing hero did play alongside former Reds captain Gerrard though, and he wasn't a fan. Senegal international Mane joined the Reds from Southampton in 2016, a little over 12 months after Gerrard left for LA Galaxy, and made himself a firm favourite with fans during more than half a decade with the club. The forward, now at Al Nassr, won the Champions League in 2019 and succeeded where Gerrard failed by claiming a Premier League winner's medal during his time at Anfield. It was a different story when it came to Mane's hero El Hadji Diouf though. Diouf's achievements with Senegal are what endeared him to Mane, but the forward's time with Liverpool was far less memorable, at least when it came to the positive on-field moments. Early in his Liverpool spell, Mane was asked by the Premier League to name his idol in the competition. "When I was young, I was watching El Hadji Diouf. He was one of my heroes," he said in November 2016. Actually, he was playing for Liverpool, so it made a big motivation for me, as he was a great player for us. He was one of the best players ever in Senegal. Diouf's time at Anfield was brief. He joined from Lens with plenty of fanfare back in 2002, but he left 2 years later after struggling to make an impact. He rubbed Gerrard up the wrong way during his time with the club too. There were moments of tension early on, but they would ultimately boil over during a pre-season friendly. Half-time of a pre-season game, there was a fight between Diouf and Gerrard. Former Reds star Florent Cinema Pongole would later recall, "I was traumatized. Can you imagine the young ones seeing this and thinking that's what professionals are like at that level?" At half-time, in the dressing room, Stevie G is all like, you have to pass, and Diouf just loses it. He didn't speak English. His English was rubbish. You know what he did? They hated each other so much. Steven Gerrard arrives. He insults Diouf. "Hey," and Diouf couldn't answer, so he grabs Gerard Houllier and says, "Tell him." He came in and said, "I'm not his mate. I'll do him in straight away." Gerrard made his feelings clear about Diouf in his 2007 autobiography. "Being around Melwood and Anfield, I knew which players were hungry, which players had Liverpool at heart. Diouf was just interested in himself," the England international wrote. "His attitude was all wrong. I felt he wasn't really about putting his body on the line to get Liverpool back at the top. What he said is only of interest to him," he said. "All I worried about was the Senegal team. I took them to the World Cup quarter-finals in 2002. I was in Pellé's 100 Players of the Century, not him. I respect him as a footballer, but there is nobody more egotistical than him." Liverpool legend Robbie Fowler believes it is relatively poor that the club have allowed the contracts of Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold to get down to their final months. But the former Reds striker insists they can replace them if all three were to leave this summer. Fowler fears that not all three of the stars will be wearing red next season, with no news yet if they'll extend their contracts beyond June. But he points to how everyone expected them to tumble down the table when Jurgen Klopp left last summer. Yet Arneslot is leading them to a Premier League title in his first season. "There will be a tough ask for players coming in to replace them," Fowler told Sky Sports. "But what I will say is that people were saying it would be a tough ask to come in and replace Jurgen Klopp, to pay Arneslot the biggest compliment we haven't missed Jurgen, so that could be the case with players." Liverpool lost the Carabao Cup final on Sunday, while PSG dumped them out of Europe last week. The focus is on winning the title now, with a 12-point lead over Arsenal with 9 games to go. Then it will be known if they're waving goodbye to Salah, Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold in the summer. Fowler said, "Speaking from a fan point of view, I honestly don't think all of them will stay." "Who? I really couldn't tell you. I'm a Liverpool fan, I want Liverpool to do well, and I want Liverpool to have all the best players." When you're looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, these are 3 massively important players for Liverpool. I know Mo didn't have a great game yesterday, they probably missed Trent, but Virgil was probably the only Liverpool player who could hold his head high after yesterday. You want the 3 of them to sign. I think it is relatively poor from the club to let these great players get down to a few months left of their contract. What will be, will be. I look at the history of Liverpool Football Club, and regardless of who is staying, I think Liverpool have always been okay with the players that have come afterwards. No player is bigger than the football club. That is the case. Jamie Carragher has criticised Liverpool's forwards while defending Mohamed Salah, claiming Liverpool rely on the Egyptian too much and that he needs more help from his teammates. Salah has been in excellent form so far this season, netting 32 goals and providing 22 assists in 43 appearances across all competitions, but he struggled to make an impact in the Carabao Cup final as Newcastle beat Liverpool 2-1. In fact, it was only the third time that Salah has failed to record a shot or create a chance in a Liverpool game he has started. However, Carragher leapt to Salah's defence after the match and insisted the likes of Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo need to step up more. It was probably one of the worst performances I've seen from Liverpool in a cup final, Carragher told Sky Sports. But they've given so much this season and they've lost one league game. It's hard to be too critical, but it has shone a light on areas where Liverpool still need to improve. I think the lack of pace in attack is glaring, and I almost feel a little bit sorry for Mohamed Salah. He took a bit of criticism after the two Paris Saint-Germain games against possibly the best left-back in the world, Nuno Mendes, who was fantastic. He didn't do too much and he wasn't great today, but he doesn't get help from the other attackers. This isn't like under Jurgen Klopp, where Sadio Mane or Roberto Firmino could bail them out of trouble. The other attackers Liverpool have got are good players, but they're not great players. They've relied on him Salah too much, so I don't want to see too much criticism of Mo Salah over this last week. As a result, Carragher believes Liverpool need to sign 2 new forwards next summer to play alongside Salah, provided he agrees a contract extension. What it's shone a light on is that Liverpool need to go out and buy 2 attackers, not as squad players, but possibly to play alongside Mo Salah, hopefully, next season, he added. I've been excited thinking it looks like Liverpool are going to win the league and there is still lots to improve, and I think they will in the summer. Liverpool's sole focus will now be winning the league, with the Reds currently sitting 12 points clear at the top of the table with 9 games left to go. Arneslot has defended his decision to put Alexis McAllister on Dan Burn at corners after the towering Newcastle defender scored in the Carabao Cup final. Newcastle beat Liverpool 2-1 at Wembley on Sunday, thanks to Burn's powerful header from Kieran Trippier's floated cross and Alexander Isak's classy half-volley. Slot threw on 5 attacking substitutes in the second half, and 2 of them combined as Harveyelliott set up Federicochiesa, but his goal in added time was too little too late. The Magpies were much the better side and deserved their first domestic trophy in 70 years, but their dominance raised questions for Liverpool. The ease with which 6 feet 7 inches Burn beat his marker 5 feet 9 inches, McAllister to power in the opening goal, left many Liverpool fans bemused on social media. But Slot was quick to point out that Burn's effort had an expected goals XG of just 0.03, and that his zonal marking system, in which Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate and the other best headers of the ball guard, the 6-yard box, has worked well from set pieces in general this season. Again, credit to Newcastle, but I can explain, he told reporters in his post-match press conference. We play zonal, so we have 5 players zonally close to our goal, so if the ball falls there, it is always one of the 5 stronger players that are going to attack that ball. And we have 3 players that man-mark, and Maka is one of them. Normally, a player like Dan Burn or another one runs to the zone because normally, I think he's an exception to that, because I have never seen in my life a player from that far away heading a ball with so much force into the far corner. That is part of logic, that they either have to go far away from our zone, which 99 out of 100 times will never lead to a goal, or they have to arrive in our zone, and then it's an equal battle, if you want to call it like this. So credit to him. I think he's one of the few players that can score a goal from that distance with his head. Speaking more generally about the match, Slot said, "The game was slow, not intense. The game went exactly the way they wanted, with a lot of duels and a lot through the air. And if we play 10 games of football through the air, they win 9 times. That is what led to the first goal and the second. We were outplayed in their style, that is true. They won more duels. It was a disappointing result, a disappointing performance, completely different to how I felt after the PSG game. I want to make it clear that the week started really well by beating Southampton, which extended our lead to 12 points. We are in one of the biggest clubs in the world, but it is not the first time they have lost 2 games in a row, especially if one is when you face the best team in Europe at the moment and the other is a strong Premier League team.